Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today I am going to further chop up my code base into reusable parts. The reason why I'm doing that, because after that I want to start a video about testing, unit testing. But first I need to get my code base right. Actually, testing would show how effective it is after moving a lot of code around, like I always do. Testing is not trusting your own code, not entirely, of course, but it's more like if you change things around and alter code here and there that maybe is depending on other things or has multiple usages you didn't take into account, then you can easily just run your testing command and get a report of is everything still working as expected. So that's mainly the reason for testing, but that's for the next video. What I did is I made two other class libraries, shared database and shared features. The shared database I made because it didn't sit right with me that the entities were in the shared API, which didn't really make sense. So I moved those entities over to shared database. That means, unfortunately, the current user service and the daytime service had to be moved alongside and its interfaces. In the configure services, I had to include these lines. Instead of add scoped, add transient, which I moved from the shared API configure services to the shared database. And I still have to update most of the references to shared API entities, which is now shared database entities. The reason I did that as well is, or the reason I made this shared features one is I wanted this to contain the business logic. So either your services that you share among multiple APIs, for example, or the CQRS command queries that I showed in one of the previous videos. But those features will have to depend on probably on the entities. So I hope this is going to be my final way of moving everything over. So let's get into it. I am going to chop up the auth service, base service, into commands and queries. Since most of these endpoints are post endpoints, we will translate them to commands. Okay, gonna do that. I'll probably fast forward this video because I have a lot of things I broke I'll have to fix, and it's gonna take some time. I made a folder auth and commands, and here I am going to make my login command. Maybe just a folder first. Inside of the commands, let's call it login command. And I'm gonna make a login command. Oh. And that's just going to be called login command. I should rename the folder to login. Refactor, update namespaces, oops. Commands login, okay. And then I'm going to just copy over the code for now and change this. I just put it there, public class, login command handler. If you look at Jason Taylor's plain architecture, you will see all things depending on, most things depending on identity framework won't be put in commands because he wanted to have his application layer free of the identity dependency. So yeah, we have a command handler, which is going to be a request handler. Okay, my looks like MediatR is not yet in there. Let's see. Also, I'm gonna have to find a way how to make sure all the commands and queries are found since they're split into multiple projects. But that's a worry for later. Let's see. Just take this MediatR package. Okay, then our request should be, let's see, that should be input login command, output. Yeah, it seems like it's going to have a odd response or authentication response. I haven't been really consistent with this naming. Let's see, it should be. Okay. This is going to generate, let me just take a look. Yeah, that's also a thing. Where am I going to put these private methods? I didn't think about yet. Generate auth response, which returns a auth token response. Okay, so that's what we need. Let's see. Okay, we have to import a common project and public class login command. Why is this not? Okay, this one needs an auth token response as return type. And let's see what we can do now. What's happening? No. Gonna comment this out for the IntelliSense. What would I be without my IDE? Unfortunately, that's quite apparent in coding tests where I can't use them, or in just regular Visual Studio. It's not all going as smooth because this one's optimized for productivity. And then, okay. First, we're going to change these request bodies to just request. And this login command actually has the same as the login. So I'm not sure if I might switch over to using the commands directly into the front end instead of these requests DTOs, and then maybe fix the validation to run on the commands instead of on the requests. That's why I made the subfolder login in my shared features auth command login, because I might add a login command validator later, which is going to be very similar as the login request validator. Okay, let's get these dependencies, which depend on identity. User manager is the one. So we need a constructor to inject. Okay, so now our shared feature needs the dependency stuff, identity stuff, I mean. I think that's all for now. The funny thing is, if I include these identity packages, most of these extensions are implicitly included. So let's try this. See, this should still work. And now should be able to do that. The logger, that's not a hard one, but logger, what do we pass in? And handler. Okay, like that. And now, I'm seeing these exceptions, which are in the shared API. I'm going to have to decide now whether to, I'll probably put those exceptions in the shared features. I might regret it. Or could I even put them in the common? Since I don't think the front end's going to, front end could, but I'm not sure if the front end needs these exceptions. Let me think about it. So it's an idea to put them in the comments project or in the feature project, shared features. Let me think about that one. Validation exception. Yeah, that's really back end because it's going to show a 400 status, like status code. That's not really front end stuff, I think. But we can't. Can we put them straight into the? Because we might have to move over the behaviors and those things, maybe some of the config. So let's make a just like Jason Taylor does a common folder, but let's add the underscore so it's on top. And let's move over these exceptions and then adjust the namespaces. Hope that worked. Yeah. So now this one's there. Sign in manager. We'll put this underneath, initialize it, and then all there is left is the generate auth response, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be not only used by the login, but also, let's see, you can actually just go. It's also used here, but that's a private one. Oh no, that's a public one. Refresh tokens. Where is this generate auth response? Oh, here. It says only one usage because I commented out the login one. So it's actually 2 usages. Okay. What are we going to do with that? It's also interacting with the database. So we could maybe make a command out of it, but it's returning. But it's private, so we're never really going to use it directly, I think. The reason we moved over those exceptions is because we need them in the commands, and I don't want to depend on the shared API, but the shared API could depend on the shared features. So maybe I can just leave in those, of course, the attributes. I see the attributes are need those exceptions. But it wouldn't make sense to move these attributes to the shared features. It could make sense to move over the behaviors, since it's more like I'm using them with the mediator pipelines. This current user service is going to give me some trouble as well. Sometimes it's better just to not touch working code. Okay. This generate auth response. I'm taking way too hard for this. So I'm thinking two things. Either we put this into a helper class, or we put them into commands. This one could be in a command, but this access token is actually calling this one. Maybe we overdo it, putting everything in commands. Let's just do it. In that case, we have reusable pieces of code. I'm not going to call it auth response. What is it actually doing? Maybe we should cut this one out. Let's cut this one out first. And add a folder to the auth, which is going to be to the commands. Create refresh token. Create refresh token. Let's add a class. Create refresh token command. There's probably a way, and I think Nick Chapsas demonstrates this, to not have to repeat this boiler stuff about create a command, create a handler, make them inherit the mediator stuff. It's probably a way to do this more generically. So you can just pass in the types and it's gonna do that, but I don't know about the logic. That is not going to return anything. Requests. Okay, let's do the same. Okay, whatever, thought it was sync. And let's put this in here. Okay, this one needs the shared database, this entity. So let's do that. And call this request dot, and then request dot can be user ID, context. For that we need a constructor. And let's see about this. This is actually just a string user ID. Oops. and a string Jwt ID. I'm not sure. That's also a string Jwt ID. So that should be fixed, and then the context we need is going to be private read only IDB context initialize, and that should be that. Can place these with cancellation token. Okay, and then of course we need to return. It doesn't actually return anything, but it has this unit, which is similar as just returning in a void method. Okay, that's that. So this one should now be able to call. It doesn't really return anything, right? So refresh token.jwt ID, which is just the Jwt ID. So actually we don't need to return anything. We can just should be able to do this, but I did not, and that's not the plan. I did not. So this should be like new create refresh token command, and then we should pass in the Jwt ID and the user ID, but I'm not going to do that. And in here we can just do Jwt ID. The only way I did refresh token.jwt ID is to make sure the refresh token exists, I guess. Now we don't have a guarantee. Yeah, well, it should might just crash. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, this is actually a good exercise to see that you can even make your existing code more testable, less depending on each other. I already told you, but like this code, mostly I took it from other sources and combined it and didn't think about it again. So that's why I still encounter some weird things. You could of course argue you don't need, since these are private methods, you don't really want to test them separately. And you could even argue maybe by moving them over to commands where validation checks are going to happen, and these things that I'm actually decreasing the performance. Or increasing latency or something. Anyway, what I noticed now is these user roles and disclaims with roles are only used within this create GWT token, so we can actually move all of this out. But we're going to make a command which might have to return this access token. We'll see about that. This is going to be pretty much live I don't really edit my videos. Maybe I should stream on Twitch or something. Help those people, those insomniacs out with finally falling asleep. Helping them out. If you know some insomniacs, please share my videos and hopefully it works for them. So I create a directory, create Jwt token. I am going to create a command, Jwt command. I'm gonna say it again. You could argue I'm chopping up my code a little too much. We'll see about that. But doing this gets me to take another look at my code and see if everything is following good practices. At least solid practices. Let's see about this. Okay. This user is gonna be identity user. I'm also going to copy this code. It's actually going to return so it's actually going to return a access token. Just call this to be more declarative. I'm gonna have to see if I want that. Let's copy over the user manager. Come on. User manager, oops. Initialize it. Okay, let's see what we can include. This probably should be class.user. Identity user. I'm not really sure if we need the whole user. Get roles. Can we use like by? No. By user ID would be cool. Okay. Claims with roles. It's probably this. Okay, move over some packages from the shared API. These identity. Seems like we have 3 packages here. I cut them out. I hope that's not going to be a problem for the shared API, for the Swagger or anything. Let's just leave them in for now. Okay, So then this all should be good. This also needs a GWT, the GWT ID prop string D. User ID be Chris.user, and then all that is left is the GWT config. How are we going to pass that? Maybe just a secret. Oh no, we also need the TTL. Okay. Okay, and this GWT config is in the shared API config folder. So we might have to move this over. Or should we just add them separately to keep it simple? Just the secret and the TTL separately? Might be a possibility. 5 usages. Of course, configuring it. But if we put it in the shared features, we can just access it as well, because the shared API depends on the shared features. But do we... I don't really see the point of configuring it to our services like this. Binding it to our services. And we see the add authentication as a GWT secret. The Swagger doesn't seem to have needed, I think. So that's okay. But we should then move all of this over to the shared features if we want to use it, to register it and use it directly, which could be okay to do. But we're gonna end up with a very empty shared API project. But let's do that. And move the auth config, GWT bearer config, and the GWT config. And this identity will probably need as well. Where is this even used? And the social DB. So this might have to go. This might have to go to the shared database project. since it's used in this method configuring the database. So then we have stripped shared API of almost all of its config. Adjust the namespaces. Let's see. Yeah, this is heavily dependent on ASP.NET Core now, of course, but we can't have it all. What's this even? Okay, we are going to move this identity config over to shared database. I'm not really consistent with these common folders because I know shared database isn't going to have, no, let me rephrase. I know shared features might have a lot of directories, and it's going to be weird to suddenly see exceptions or config. But in the shared database, it's not going to be very large, so I just put them at the root level. I am, however, have to adjust these namespaces. Yes. Copy over some, probably this one package. Let's cut those out, maybe cut out these as well. Not sure if we need the identity and all those projects after we're done moving the logic over, the auth logic over. Okay, so now these should be able to be referenced. This one as well. And configure services, Jwt config, and all of this is fine. At the end, we'll probably have to add shared features to our separate API projects, not the shared one, just the other ones, the project ones. Okay, so we can continue. I have this Jwt config. Oops. Can be request.jwt config. And then we have to return this access token. So it's probably, unless I'm missing something, unless we can do this differently. It's not really interacting. Oh yeah, it is with our database. It's doing some gets. So maybe we could make sure this is a query instead of a command. It's also but we're creating an access token. This should actually be called create access token or something. Okay, we are thinking too much about this. And this one should actually just return existing user, which could make it a query or something, maybe. Let's keep them commands for now, maybe I'll rename them. But this is an identity user. We might not want to map this response, so we're not actually returning the password and all those things. To be continued. For that, so login command is now okay. Create Jwt command. It's returning an access token. It's a string, string, and that should be good. Not sure if we should do all this role things in here. Let's see if we need this again, we might get it out of there. Okay. That's all for the login, if I'm not mistaken. That's been quite a lot. Let's close that all for now. And let's continue with the next thing. Log user in. Wait a sec, we're not really... Have to see how we do this one. So login command is now just using the existing user, but we will want to return a we're chopping everything up, but we're probably losing sight of what the intention was. So I'm just going to leave this here. And this generate auth user should actually just be commented out. Let's just comment all of this out, including maybe not region. Just for when we need to figure out to return this auth token response. Maybe we should just do it directly. Where should we do that? Probably in our API projects. You could say inside the service, but I don't think it's going to be inside of the auth controller. So we want this auth response. We're probably going to say await mediator. Oops, mediator. Let's send. Okay. This doesn't seem to want to do that. Kind of. Yeah, this one should inherit from our API base controller, so mediator is accessible. Await is for some reason. Anyway, and then here we have the login user request. Maybe we can replace that with the login user command. But then we'll have to use the command as well in the front end. So I'm not sure about that yet. So let's leave it like this for now and do new login command. We'll probably have to add this services.add shared features, actually. Shared features. Maybe the shared database as well. Operation. Let's see, we're not referencing that one yet. Add shared features. Reference project. Okay. So now we should be able to do command. And we'll unfortunately have to map this for now, unless we directly want to use the command, just like that. It's actually returning the existing user. Okay, and then the next thing would be to let's take a look at our login methods. So probably first the refresh command, and then the create Jwt. Probably makes no sense to do these separately, but let's see if we can solve that problem. You need a Jwt ID and a user ID. The Jwt ID is going to be, let me do that in a second. The user ID is going to be existing user.id. For this one, we probably want Jwt ID is new. It's the line, just a new Jwt to string. Just copy it over. Oops. Because we might need this Jwt ID again. This auth response and not. And then it would be, the final thing would be access token equals await mediator.send new create Jwt, and this one needs the Jwt config should be I don't have this Jwt config. Okay. What else? Jwt ID and the identity user. The identity user, not just user, is the existing user. That should be it, and then the auth response should be new auth token response having the access token and the Jwt ID. That should be the composition of all of that, but you see, instead of one line, we now have a lot more. So let's see, we could move this to the auth service, but I don't think that makes sense. It's not going to be more or less testable that way. So we're gonna unit test those separately. Anyway, let's continue with the Jwt config. It is strange that I don't have it in. Yeah, it's probably in the auth service. Not even. It's getting past. Yeah, I options Jwt config. Let's see. This needs to be I options, and then this should be dot value. Okay, that should work. On to the next one. So now we can safely remove this. And safely remove the bottom stuff. Unless we are going to need it again for refreshing the token, probably. Fresh tokens might need auth response again. Okay. The next one's going to be register. This is a very specific one for each project specific, I mean. And it's pretty large. Excuse me, we were chopping up the auth base service, not the auth service. So let's look at the next one there, which is create user profile. Let's copy it and put it in comment it out. And then we are going to make a command, first a folder, of course, create user profile, oops, profile, and make a command. This is kind of, we're constantly repeating this boilerplate code of commands and command handlers. Create user profile command. But there's also some benefits of doing that. That is, you have, I mean, at a certain point, it's just gonna feel like automatic. You're on autopilot, developing features, and everything is following the same flow, which makes a good code base, good testable and understandable code base, hopefully. Okay. Let's see, let's paste in the code and remove. So we're saying new user and name, identity user and name. What do we need from the new user? The ID, the email, and the phone number. So maybe, okay, that was the doorbell. Let's continue. So, the create user profile command. What I was saying was I am only creating a user profile after creating a identity user, so they are linked. You might want to use this command without first creating a identity user, or yeah, for my use case, I don't actually want that, but it could happen that I have to make user profiles afterwards. But then we should also pass a identity user. So yeah, whatever, man. Let's just keep it like that for now. And put those here. And this can be public, identity user. It's going to be public string, and that's actually like the name of the user, not the like the surname and the last name. So let's see about that. Then this has to be, oops, this has to be request dot user dot, and this is going to be request dot name. And then we need the to inject database context, read only, IDB context, oops, context, oops, and checked it. What's happening here? Why is this indented like that? Oops, reformat. And I'll have to think about this. Maybe I don't need to return the new user profile. So it's not a good practice, I think, to return it, but let's see how we'll use it. Just add the cancellation tokens. But if we don't, we might have to I think in our use case, we're using this command to register, of course, a user, then make a user profile, and then probably send the email to the user, to the new user. So I'm thinking we'll probably only need to return the email and maybe the name to construct our email. So we'll probably be able to get those values from from this identity user that's coming in. So we're not going to return this new user profile to keep good practices, and that should be it. Let's see if we can implement it. In our, it's probably going to be in here in the register user. It's probably here. So in here we should have like mediator.send. But we're in the auth service, so, and then in here, like I said, we're gonna send a user email, and we might only need the, let's see, the ID as well, and the entire user. But that's the identity user and the user email. So we actually don't need the we don't need to return. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling. We don't actually need to return the create user profile. The only reason we're doing this is to throw a validation exception. Which we might. We're going to fix that problem later. But then the auth controller, so register is not just going to be register anymore. It's going to be we can't actually replace this yet because this is calling the auth service, which has way more logic. So we'd have to replace all of this by commands or queries. So the only thing we could actually do here is, and not even that, we should have do mediator.send and then the new create user profile command and pass the necessary data. So that's probably new user and but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, let's continue. I just realized something for the next video. Since we are chopping all of these things up into different commands, we're probably going to unit test each command, but also we'll have to test the flow. So just knowing that all these commands are working as expected is not enough. We also want to know if this entire method works fine. So we'll have to add integration tests for that, I assume, but that's for next video. Let's continue with our chopping. So the next one is confirm user, which tries to find the user, confirms the user, and tries to find the user profile, sets the user profile to true, and then updates the existing user profile. Let's see where this one's called. This is separate. Okay. So you'll probably see me both do a find or a get and a save to database. That's fine for commands. It's not fine for queries. Queries should be exclusively finds or gets, but commands shouldn't. At least I don't think so. Commands shouldn't be only gets, unless of course you can skip this get stuff and just update it directly, but that's not the way I like to work. I like to be able to throw exceptions or prevent updating before something happens, when it's not possible to update, to have no weird side effects. Okay, enough confusing explanation about that. Let's create a command, confirm user. Login should probably be called login user, but logging in is always about users, I think, for me at least. And we are going to implement the same boilerplate command handler logic on autopilot. After a few times, you really can do this without looking at an example or something. It's just the same every time, which makes it predictable, and yeah, has some benefits to have predictable code base, robustness, maintainability. Okay. Let's copy the logic. That's a lot of logic. I didn't look at what the request body had. It's a user ID and a token currently. Let's just confirm that. User ID and a token. Yeah. I see I could probably just inherit from confirm user request. I think. What's it saying? What's this saying? Anyway, request body needs to be request. And let's copy over the user and the sign-in manager. And initialize them. Oops. Don't know why this happened. Okay. And then all we need now is the database. And I see we need some kind of link or entity framework package. Entity framework. Did we include entity framework in here? Yep. Identity framework. Not the. Where is this one coming from? Identity framework queryable extensions. Let's tidy this up for a bit. Okay. That's about all for that. Reformat code. We can replace this one with cancellation token. Why is this sign-in manager not used? Probably don't need it. My bad. Okay. Don't know what's erroring. Only records may inherit from records. Okay. I've actually forgot to make these things records, if that's even possible. Okay. I like records because I'm probably going to have to compare or map, but maybe not for this DTO. And also I'll probably have to put fields from the command into the database objects, the entities. So entities are classes. So I'm not just simply going to be able to compare or override the classes. So I'm not going. So I'm just going to keep it like that. Let's see. Annoying. And oops. Okay. So that should be good now. What are we doing? Confirming a user? Are we doing too much or not? We're checking for an existing user. If so, we're confirming it. If it doesn't, we return a validation exception. And we do the same for an existing user profile. If it's not, we're going to throw an exception. And if we successfully find one profile, we're going to update this one with email is confirmed. This code is actually just because I wanted to have this field in my user profile as well for later usages, but it shouldn't be, it's not really necessary. Okay, I'm still getting an error somewhere. Return statement missing. Okay, return, oops, return dot value, and that should be that. So then we have this whole confirm user. We can remove. Maybe we can keep this command smaller by moving some things out, but let's just roll with it for now. Confirm user, that's going to be this one. We could comment that one out and say wait mediator.send new confirm user command and have to map this token to request body.token. Actually, we're kinda yeah, we're inheriting from confirm user request, but unfortunately that doesn't mean we can just say new mediator.send request body, because it's another it's not the command in here. We could maybe transition and make this the command later. We'll see if that's how the front end likes that, using the commands directly into the front end, and how we are going to go about validation, either on the requests or on the commands. If we do it on the commands, we can just remove this request and use the command directly. But all right. Okay, the next one is resend confirmation email. This one seems to be quite chained. With chaining, I mean it's a method calling another method, and this method is calling another method. So I don't know where this one's. Oh, this is a private one. Okay, exposing my junk email address. Let's see. And also these reset passwords are going to be similar, only the token is different, so maybe in the endpoint URL. So maybe we could yeah, the mail is going to be different. I mean the subject and the body. That's the only reason why I made so many similar methods. Okay, this is getting a little more difficult because we are transforming reusable private methods like the send mail. Gonna have to make them standalone reusable components methods. And it actually doesn't really make sense to make commands or queries from methods that don't interact with the database, since the command query pattern is kind of a database pattern. I mean, meant to be a database pattern. Let's see, this is just sending an email. Resend confirmation email is just okay. Let's just do it. But like I said, we are interacting with the database, but not really, not altering the state. So command doesn't actually make sense for this. I'm going to call this resend confirm user. Resend confirm user. Send confirmation email. Resend confirm user. Mail. Send user confirmation mail. Mail or email? Let's call it email. Send user confirmation email. That's gonna be a long send confirmation email command. Here we go again, public class. Just gonna copy it to have no mistake. It's probably not going to return anything. Resend. Okay. Return unit dot value. Oops, dot value. I'll make this one async. Constructor. And let's copy this. Send confirmation email. Let's make this a class. Oops. Oops. Okay, like that. And inherit. Yeah, these names are not consistent right now. Let's refactor so I don't keep complaining about it. Send user confirmation email. Send user confirmation email requests. Let's see. Looks good. Send user confirmation email request. I'm gonna say it again, it's highly likely that we don't use these requests anymore and we just use the commands directly. But yeah. So then we are going to copy this, copy it, put it in, comment it out. Just go into user. Such a hassle to do all of this, but I was gonna have to do it someday anyway, so yeah. Okay, so now user manager, just checking for the manager. If not, if we already confirmed, throw forbidden, otherwise send the email. But this one, we're not going to call a mediator inside a mediator command. So we're gonna split that up for multiple reasons. Why we won't do that is probably obfuscation, if I'm using the correct term, which I think means if we nest too much, like obfuscation, like just hiding code or making it too difficult to find out what's actually happening. That's what I think it means, which does not add to our maintainable, readable code base. This is the wrong file. So now we have to to send email. Maybe we can just move this to I would say the email library. But then we have to no. Then we would have to pass the environment, which is ASP.NET Core specific, which I don't want to do. This is actually the library. But on the other hand, we don't want to keep repeating this. So I would suggest to make the send confirm user email command first, because it's highly possible that the resend is just going to do, yeah, like it already shows, it's just doing this, which maybe we just gonna cut out and move to the controller, which then we'll have to write an integration test for. So let's do that. Send user confirmation email folder, and add the command send user confirmation email command. Send user confirmation email command. Just going to copy this and oops, just remove this for where we have resend. Just going to do that. It's not actually used inside our controller. So going to move this to the controller. Resend confirmation email. Should be like this. Then that's request body again. But then we should do await mediator.send new send user confirmation email command, and this should have, we'll find out. So identity user. Okay, so email and redirect URL. Let's copy those and would say either we inherit from resend user confirmation email request, or we make a new send user confirmation email request with the same props, or we just directly do this. Okay. Oops, what am I doing? Sheet. So our base service, we were cutting things out of. So this. Let's see. Existing user and requested redirect URL. And then we still have the send email one. We're gonna have to cut out. So the only thing we're actually doing here is constructing the user email, confirmation email. So this could actually be a query. This could actually be a query. First, let's see what we have to pass here. What was a token? I think. And email and redirect URL. It's just a mapping. Redirect. Okay, and then actually underneath we should do this. And here we need contact type email body, the user.email. So this is actually just request body.email. And the send email, of course, is let's see if we can find it. It's just this. We can probably remove that. This contact type is the subject, I'm assuming. Phew, this is a lot of things to think about. And the controller is getting really large, which shouldn't be the goal. And we're getting a lot of dependencies as well. Read only so email service, service. So like that. Environment will need can so web host environment. We might be able to skip this mail envelope. And I just noticed this says send user confirmation email command. That's really shitty. They're probably going to make this a query since it's going to return our probably something like the mail envelope, which should be a mail request. So let's just do this mail envelope. And then this should be going to be called as a query. Oops. Going to move this file. I'm sorry, this is probably pretty boring for you. And I'm going to add a folder, queries. And move this. I'll have to rename it because send sounds more like a command. And I already mentioned that this shouldn't probably be a command or a query. Maybe just some private method. But anyways, because let's say this is the only difference between, and of course the email content is the only difference between confirming a user or resetting a password. So I think it might be good to just get that out. Should be like existing user. Oops. So let's not bother creating a query from that. Just put it in here for now. Just getting us way too much code. Okay. But it would be wiser to just extract at least all of this to a separate method. Something like construct confirmation email or get confirmation email template or something like that instead of making a query. So I'm going to remove this one. And I'll probably remove the send confirmation email as well, since that doesn't do more than some extra checks. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I need to figure out what this mail envelope was again. It's just a mail request constructed with a subject body and a to. Maybe we could just do the environment check inside of this class. Let's see. So actually this is all the mail envelope would be. Should be existing user. This would be request body dot endpoint. No, redirect URL. And this should be existing user.id. That would be that. But then I see I'm constructing a mail request to then just destructure it. So that's not ideal. So for now we could just copy these and paste them in here. And the reply to will be null, I think. Yeah, I don't even have to set it. Default is null. And then this overwriting. I could probably just do. Oops. Like that. If it's environment, we want my junk email. I'm constantly hitting the wrong buttons. That and else we want to be existing user.email, and then replace this one with 2, and then we can leave that out. Okay. That's it for now. This method at least will probably want to make this, or at least this, reusable somehow. Sorry. Yeah. Let's just keep that for the end. Okay. Like I said, that's a lot of code for just to have in a to have in a controller. We'll clean that up later. Okay, let's continue. So, resend is, we've got this one out of the way. Next one is reset password, which is also going to be similar. Let's first start by getting this to the controller. And then can remove that. Move this to the controller. And remove the method entirely. And it's very similar. This one's going to be request body dot redirect URL. It's going to be existing user. And that one is going to be similarly as that. So we did above. So that was easy. I'm going to say it again. There's very little difference between this and this. So we might, excuse me, and this. Major difference is this method, generate email token and generate password reset token. And then, of course, the subject in the body is going to be different, but we can move it somewhere else. Okay. Then actually resetting a password, this could be a command, I think. But it feels kind of lame to put it in a command and not just have it in the controller directly. Since there's not much to change about this one. Okay, the command. I mean, it's going to be as testable in the auth service as it would be in the as a command. Set password command. Here we go again with the boilerplate code. Making a predictable code base. Okay. Yeah, we need this. Let's just copy it from here. What's happening? Just want to initialize this one. Set password command. It's probably going to be able to inherit from reset pass. Oops. Password request, which is a record. I'm gonna make it a class like this. User ID token password in a class, and that should be it. And then, of course, we need to return our unit.value. So this should be just new reset password command and map these things over token. Oops. token user ID as request body dot user ID. That should be all. Okay, my dogs are making a swimming pool of my apartment. Okay, that's all that does. Then the last one is delete user, which is definitely a command. First of all, this resend command we can probably remove. Send confirmation. Just gonna remove this one. And last one is delete user, which has a try catch. Okay. We seem to still have a refresh tokens. And the send email we kinda already replaced. And some more stuff for parsing our Jwt token. Out controller, delete. And this just has the current user ID. Okay, that's interesting. So this should be, let's make the command first. Delete user. Delete user command, I request public class delete user command handler. I request handler delete user command. Oops, just the same thing over and over. Async. Show in the code. Let's make a constructor. This should be just a we don't have a request object, so we're just going to do string ID, and then all these user IDs are going to be replaced with request dot user ID. Gonna need a context. Come on. And the user manager. Just gonna copy it. Not from this one. Let's actually stay consistent. Not that it matters. I like to keep my order. Okay, that should be all. I think this one is think like that. all of these can have the cancellation token, and that should be it. I have to mention the delete user command. I made it into a shared feature, but this is actually going to be very specific to different projects. So of course we're going to have the tokens in the existing user profile for our use cases, but one application or project might have more fields to remove than the other one. For example, one application might have user preferences and the other application might not have that. Excuse me. But let's worry about that later when we're actually implementing the full applications logic. So that said, maybe it would make more sense to have this delete user moved to the specific project's features. So probably here in this pet social features project. Anyway, I see I still have a error. That is because we did not return our unit that value. Okay, and then this should be, oops, let's send new delete user command with user ID of current user service user ID. And now we should have replaced the entire auth service, auth base service. Oh no, we haven't. The refresh tokens. Coming up. Where is this even used? Seems like we skipped one. And of course we have skipped the register, since that doesn't live in the auth base service. This one does. But that is quite a large one. Let's see. It also has the get claims principle. Which has the valid algorithm. These two methods are not interacting with our database, so might make no sense to put them into the CQRS pattern. But we did it with, yeah, this is just calling the get roles. This is actually not a great name, get claims principal, since it's validating the token. Ah yeah, here I say validated access token get claims principal. All of this Jwt code should probably just go to a Jwt Helper Class or something. But then this should happen in the controller. Okay, let's see about that. Create Jwt. Where is this called again? And here. Okay, that's it. I'm going to make a Jwt Helper Class. And I'm going to make that in here. I could call this utils or helpers. I'm going to call this helpers because I'll know for sure I'll have a string helper as well. But maybe that's going to live in the common folder of the top common folder. Jwt helper might be a static one. Let's create Jwt token command. So all of this should be in there. So it's going to need the user roles, something else, the Jwt config. So let's get this one out and remove the, okay. This would be getting the roles of existing user, and then let's try this. Is Jwt Helper I'm gonna have to make this static. I think, oops. User roles is just a list of string. It's gonna be UT string and list of string user roles. And we still need the user ID. Okay, that should be good. I think. And we're going to also use this Jwt helper for the next for this get claims principle and has valid algorithm. This get claims principle I'm probably going to rename to validate access token. Yep. Although it should be returning a boolean. Okay, no, it doesn't. Okay, I see. Should probably be called get valid claims principle then, or something, because we're first validating the token. And this validation method returns the claims principle. And I'm going to refactor this just a little bit because I looked over what it actually did. I thought this would have been a bool. Just gonna do firehouse fat algorithm. I'm not making it better actually. I think turn no. Otherwise return principle. Yeah, it's going to. I could also throw here, so it would go to the catch. I think it's a little more clear like this. Although I could one line this piece of code, but I'm not going to do it because I'll get confused whether this method returns a boolean or a principal. Okay. I am just going to add a string Jwt secrets and replace this secret. It's gonna be static, and that is already static. Okay. Did I rename it to valid? Get valid claims principle? No. Or get validated, get valid. Anyway. Okay. All of this doesn't actually have to do with refreshing the access token, so we're gonna get this out. Move this to the controller for now, and we'll later see what to do with it. This one's gonna be Jwt Helper .get valid claims principle. This needs Jwt config.secret. Let me see what's wrong. Pop. Let's add another dependency. Not controller. And implement it, initialize it. Let's see what's happening. Can move this to the Jwt Helper. We might also okay, I see. This one needs to be public. And then I am going to just add it here, public. Let's see. Get Jwt ID string. And it needs a static, and it needs a access token. It's not just a access token, it's a claims principal. Whatever that might be. Okay. Like that. Should be validated access token, which is actually validated claims principal. Okay. And then we should call MediatR to refresh the tokens. We are going to do that in the features command, add a folder, refresh tokens, make a class, refresh tokens command. Loading. Takes longer and longer, the loading. Probably because of all the errors and moving files and refactoring. Refresh tokens command handler. I request handler. Refresh tokens command. Subs, boilerplate stuff. async return unit.value, and we are going to need a constructor for the IDP context. And now we can copy over the code. At least a part of the code. We also need a logger, read-only by logger, refresh tokens. Is it command handler or command handler? First or default wants cancellation token. Request body is going to have to be requests. Oops. Okay. Jwt ID and the user manager. This one is going to be cancellation token. This is again this claims principle, but this time for the name identifier. So maybe we can add that to the Jwt helper. Pass in which claim type we want. Anyway, we need we might have a access token, refresh token. Access token is used here. Refresh token should be used there. So wait MediatR.send new refresh tokens command. I see I called it refresh token request, and now refresh tokens. Plural, because we're refreshing the refresh token and the access token, I think. We need a Jwt ID, but if I'm not mistaken, this refresh token is so let's pass this one, if that's possible. This one should be the validated refresh token, if I'm not mistaken. Refresh token is actually in our database is actually just a Jwt ID, so we could either get it from the request body or from here. I think. Oops. But let's see. Because we're checking in the database if the Jwt ID equals the other one. This is again this principal thingy. Mm, let's copy over the user service first. User manager, sorry. I'm not going to worry about the order now. That's just a preference. This one. This is not great code. Should be, I think, principal, if I'm not mistaken. Valid claims principal. Should I call it like that? Just gonna refactor this to valid. Claims principal. Principal doesn't tell me enough, so I'm gonna call this claims principal. Should I call it valid claims principal? Could do that too. Claims principal. But what are we even doing this for? Just to get the name out or something, the username. Probably to get the user by email. Oh no, the user ID. Okay. So should be user ID. Well, this is getting the Jwt ID. Let's recall it from claims. And it's all this principal stuff. I might just call it valid claims. Just get claims. Claims. actually get valid claims, get validated claims, get claims. Not entirely happy with the name, but okay, let's not waste too much time on that. Claims principle isn't exactly. It's not exactly the same as a list of claims because it has claims inside, but maybe we just pass the claims instead of this principle. Something like this. Claims. Let's first see what the type was. Enumerable claims. Claim. Just doing this so I don't confuse myself with this principle stuff. And then maybe we should just pass the claim type. Oops. Like something like target claim type or something. So we can reuse let's call this get claim by type. But then what's this value? Get claim value by claim type. Get claim value. Claim value. This needs the whole reason, of course, I moved this method to the Jwt helpers is so I don't have to import this type. So let's just make this private and public. Oops. Static string it get Jwt ID from claims and just just to make a declarative method. claim. Well, this doesn't really benefit me a lot. I'm just the only thing I'm doing is getting this, replacing this first or default. So that's not really useful. So let's forget about that one and just make it a get user ID from claim. And this is going to be claim. This one I need. This could be Jwt Helper get user ID from claims. Something like this. Should look like that. Valid claims, valid claims. This should be. Yeah. Okay, let's call this principal again. Might even be easier to just we could actually just get this user ID from the current user service, if I'm not mistaken, or just get this out of this method. But anyway, so that should be that. And then there's one more thing we need to do, and is return this auth response, which is similar as and the login is an auth response with the access token and the Jwt ID. This access token, we could just say requests body.access token, or let's see, we'll probably probably want the no, that's not right. We'll want a new access token. That's the whole point of refreshing. So this Jwt ID will probably want a new one as well. What is this actually doing? This is just checking our stored refresh token. If there's none, put forbidden. If it's an invalid one, say it's invalid. If it's a good one, gets the user checks whether there's a user for this refresh token. If not, we throw another forbidden. If everything goes fine, we just update the stored refresh token with is used. But in the we'll want a new access token on this Jwt ID. This is a new so we should actually repeat this process. We could just call the login method, but that might not be as clean as we want. Okay, so let's comment this out for now and look into this refresh tokens command more, because the only thing we're doing is actually updating. We're checking the refresh token, and we're just updating it. Which is, yeah, it's just doing too much, and it's not actually refreshing the tokens, just doing some checks and updating. So we'll have to split that up. Phew, this is way more work than I could have imagined, and we're not even close to finishing, since the register method is a large one. And so, which would be the next one to do. So a better name for this command would actually be like update refresh token or something, or invalidate refresh token. But we're only ever going to do that. We're not ever going to update anything else from the refresh token. Only the is used, and maybe the is. Not sure if we ever use this is invalidated one. So I'm going to refactor this. Set is used refresh token, or set refresh token to is used. Update is used refresh token. Would that be a good name? Update refresh token is used command. I'm gonna say set refresh token is used, or used, whatever. And then this one should be this. Okay, like this. It's actually set valid refresh token, but yeah, we're still validated inside. Update folder name and just a namespace. Refactor. Set refresh token is used command. Okay. And then we're actually creating a new refresh token, so we can reuse this code. Do we have the user somewhere? Or the user ID? Actually do have the user ID, but we'll have to get it out of here. Pass string ID, I think. Okay, and then this. I think we might not need this valid claims anymore. Do we? Nope, we might not. I think it's going to be user ID. Oops. Okay, this Jwt ID is a new one. So it's going to be ID. This one should actually be the new Jwt ID. But we also have to return that as the refresh token. So let's call it new Jwt. And then need the access token and new Jwt ID. And here we need the existing user. Or do we already have the user roles somewhere? We could probably get them from the token. But is this a good practice to get user roles from a token we are trying to refresh? I'm not sure, maybe this valid claims principle holds the roles of the or access token might hold them. Let me check. I'll probably be able to get the user roles the same way as I do these. So let's try that. Let's try that. Jwt Helper get user roles from claims. Have the valid principal claims. And let's make that method. Should be a list of string get user roles. Now we just have to do the opposite of deconstructing or of constructing roles. Let's see. Claims with roles is. Are we getting here? Probably have to. Let's have a look at. Probably in the login method we are creating. Okay, here we are. Here we actually got user roles from the user. That doesn't help. We could probably get the user by ID, by user ID, and then get the roles. Or we could get them from the valid token. A bit similar as this. But instead of a select, we'll take a where. Let's just try it. Where payment claim type equals claim type spent role. And then select claim.value. I think it's an IEnumerable. I don't know if we like this. Should work. I was missing an S. Okay. Possible null references. Okay, but this is a lot of code in here. A lot of code in the controllers. But now we should be able to remove the auth base service entirely. And also this interface. clean up our local auth service. Auth-based service can be removed. And then the auth-based service. Okay. Okay. This delete user. Okay, let's clean up the rest of our. Try to run things. This register one will have to still chop up. But then again, this isn't probably not going to be a shared feature. Registering a user might or might not be very specific to the project, although it shouldn't be. Let's first see if we can reference this, and then that should be working. Same for the behaviors. This is going to need the shared database. And notation exceptions. It's going to be shared features, I think. Let's just see. Seems to be using the fluent validation, which is not what we want. I think I've made this mistake multiple times. In the shared features. Although it says validation failure, validation exception. Okay, looks good. Okay. Okay, so we should be able to run this. Validation exception, registering a user. Let's comment this out for now. And comment this out. Going to delete this interface. Shared API interfaces. Seems like we did the opposite now. Instead of moving everything to services, we moved everything to commands, but which put a lot of logic back into the controllers, which is not ideal. I'll see how to fix that. Maybe by using the services to call MediatR in, but might not be great. I'm going to try and run it and see if we can just log in. We're getting error against our current user service. Let's see. The error seems to be using these current user services from the shared database. So what could we do? Either add the shared database into our program CS for the project API, or add it into the configure services of the social database. Let me try this one. Shared database. This should register the current user service and datetime service. seems to be running, but I'm not convinced that everything is just gonna work fine. Let's try tester 30 at gmail.com. I actually forgot what passwords we used. 1234 or 12345. But we're getting a 500. Handler was not found for request of type login command. So this is what I mentioned before, the shared features and the social features might be conflicting. So in here I did add MediatR, get executing assembly. I'm gonna try to add this as well in the maybe like this. And we are logged in. That's cool. That did seem to take some time. And let's see if we can do something else. Register we're not going to be able to do. So that makes confirm not testable as well. Refresh. Let's copy this and see if our refresh works. Reset passwords should work. And we seem to be getting 200 with an access token ending on WBI, and this one's ending on ZO, this one on D7DD, and this one on 424. So we got a valid new access token. I'm going to try to authenticate. Hopefully that all still works. And then I should be able to get me. And this seems to work fine with the correct user roles. That's cool. So all our claim parsing worked. Let's then try a reset password, is it reset password? Change password. Should probably be okay, but it seems like most of it works. Then all that is left is this register method. And let's just see if the delete user is implemented. I forgot. Yep, seems like it. And we should actually clean all these methods up if we can. All right. Okay, let's first do this register one. And for now, I'm going to put them in the shared features, but it's possible that I'm going to move them to the pet social features later. Make a folder and a command. We don't have validation in place now. But this is also nice. You see this warning, long-running requests. Password shouldn't actually be locked, but okay. It's long-running requests because of the pipelines, because of MediatR. Before, when I did like authentication through the authentication controller and through the service file, these pipelines weren't applied to it, so I couldn't really see much of what was going on with the actual authentication commands, interactions, operations. Class register. Request handler. Register. Command. Requests. Okay, this is probably going to inherit from request. Sorry, register user request, which is a record. So transform it to a class. Oops. Okay. And let's see if user info. Okay. It's kind of lame that I spent time making records of these and being proud of it, and now undoing all of that. Okay, let's just reformat, and it should be good. I think, and we have all this code in here. This one, send confirm user email, we're not going to do. Going to return unit.value. Yeah, let's maybe just return this in the end after the catch. Okay. And this is doing a lot. This one, created user profile. We are doing in a separate command, so this can go. Which takes out a bit of code. And then we need to Do we even need this context? Nope. We need the user manager and logger. Let's just get them from. Do we need a sign-in manager? We might. No, don't think so. Gonna make an ilogger register. So command handler logger. Okay. And then gonna change this to request. And then this validation exception, we can just I might have this validation exception I might have used instead of my custom one. I might have used the Fluent validation one in all my other commands, which is not great. Okay, so let's implement this because I removed a lot of things I might forget. Okay, so register. So first we do this await mediator dot send new register user command, and we'll have to map all of that. But then we have to do await mediator dot send new create user profile command. Oops. And map that, and then we need to do await. We'll have to send the user confirmation mail. So that's gonna be again all of. I see we don't even implement this confirm. Oh yeah, we do. Confirm user command, but that's not sending the email. Resend confirmation email. Okay, we're not using that directly, but it's gonna be similar as the resend one, just that so this part, I think, yes. And again, we'll probably want to move some duplicate code. Okay. This is now getting really tricky because we're registering a user, but we're not returning it. So actually, we should return this new user, which is not ideal in a command. But it's either that or refetching it. Another thing is register a user and then creating the user profile. It's kind of, it should actually happen in a transaction. So if one fails, neither of those accounts should be made, or neither of those database calls should be executed. Now I'm seeing this register user command and create profile user command. Maybe I should just call this create user. Let's see. Since registering a user should contain everything, let's refactor. Okay. The file should be not register, but edit. Create user. And should adjust the namespaces to complete our refactoring. Let's see. Okay. Now we still have this problem with the existing user, probably the new user we need here. The user.email we could actually get from the request body dot userinfo.email. Since if we reach this code, we probably had a successful registration, but this ID we cannot access. You could say create user only. Create user could return only the ID, but then we still have a problem in here. So I'm just gonna say new user is create user. Then new user.email, new user, and new user.id. I think which makes we have to return the new user, and that new user should have an ID since it's created here, and the reference make sure the ID gets the user gets the ID. Let's see, return null. That's not what I usually do, returning well after creating. Maybe it's an ID to fetch instead of returning here to fetch the user. by ID. Yeah, maybe that's a better practice. I don't know. Actually, not what I'm. It's not necessary. I mean, since we have this user, it's not like we are doing a get user in here or something. But if this create async didn't add the ID of the newly created user to this user object because of the reference, then we probably would have had to get the user before being able to send this email. Okay, that's all for that. Oh yeah, of course we have to. We have to still map all of this. And first, yeah, okay. All of this should just be request body dot and the property language. And then, of course, this redirect URL is not really needed. Neither is the language. No, language might be needed. This user info. Do we need it? Yep, email, phone number. Code is unreachable. Okay. Email, phone number, email, password. This is going to be a new user info request. And we'll have to map this email request body dot user info dot email name is request body dot user info dot name and phone number. We could maybe use some kind of mapping to map it, or use the yeah, something like that. In this scenario, we can't directly use the commands because this one has a redirect URL, and yeah. There is more happening than just one command. So this needs the name. This the crossbody.userinfo.name and the new user actually. It's a new user, but this name should be able, I think, no. This new user, does it have the name? No, it doesn't. So the register should be working now. And all that is left is to clean up this duplicate code, and tidy up the methods that got way too large, and all that good stuff. And then after that, we'll finally be able to start testing. We'll have to make unit tests and integration tests, because of course we could assume that if every unit test succeeds, that the integration test of, for example, logging in is probably going to succeed as well. But if you see, and yeah, we won't have to test user manager or sign-in manager, since that belongs to the Microsoft core. That's probably already tested, and we should be able to assume that this works. So it's only our own written code we should test. So our own logic. But that's for another video. Okay, the last thing I did is move the auth controller from the social API to the shared API. This move might bite me in the butt later. When I, for example, have more user data to delete for another project's API or another database that has more user-related content to delete when a user deletes his or her account. And I refactored just a little bit more. I'm not entirely happy with it yet, but it's a bit better already. One thing I did was I call these new Jwt ID. So I'm sure I'm using a new one. It's more declarative. Here I was mapping this one manually, but since this both user info requests, you can just pass them like that. It should work. The same I did here. Create user profile command. Instead of passing the name and the email separately, I just pass it like this. And then I cleaned up the email stuff. I expanded my constructor email template to pass the token, the redirect URL, and checking the environment when sending an email. I'm just doing before I parse the to. So the to is the destination email address, user email address to. So I set it to a junk email when we are developing. You see the refresh token still has a lot of code in it. It's not entirely happy with that. Also here I have this new Jwt ID. So I was using the wrong one here. So now it's more clear that I don't want to have the old Jwt ID in here. Since this is all about creating a new Jwt and a new refresh token and a new access token. Maybe this should be made more declarative, more clear. Let's just shouldn't be using comments too much, but let's say tokens. And the same happened here with the email stuff, just similar. Same here. And that's about it. So now it's a little cleaner and everything is in the CQRS format. So smaller, testable pieces of code. Let's take a look. Some handlers are still not really small and not that much easier. Let's see, for example, yeah. Okay, but that's it for this series, and hopefully next video will be about testing, unit testing and integration testing. Oops, that was checking my email. Let's see if everything still works. 401, which is normal. Let's log in. I already made a tester 40 by now. It does seem to take a little longer. I didn't activate tester 40 yet. Let's see if we can access tester 30. Yep, we can. Let's refresh the tokens to test. Let's first see ending in QWM 6C. Let's refresh. These end in G and BA, so that seems good. Let's, for the final test, authenticate. .me is getting the user ID and the app user as role. Let's register. No, I think that's enough testing. Oops, what's a forbidden? Okay. Seems like the exception handling caught it, which is good, I think. See you in the next video.